The basics of C for competitive programming. Basically, whatever you need to start today or tomorrow, whenever you like. But basically, after you're done with this, you will be able to solve some problems on the platform. Hopefully, get started. Why we are learning competitive programming? Okay, it will help you to strengthen your grip on the fundamentals of computer science, that are data structures and algorithms. These are very fundamental basic skills that you will need for every branch, every subject you study later. These are the building blocks. And college courses will give you a lot of theory. There will be a lot of practical things too, but it won't be enough because you can't really get very good at them without sufficient practice. So competitive programming will help you there. It will help you learn more about the practical applications. And of course, every company you try for will give you some problems in these interviews, which will be familiar to you if you are, a competitive programmer, because they're basically the same thing. So that's all about competitive programming. And now we will get started with C. Okay. So this is your first program, Hello World. Notice how it starts. Hash include stdio.h. That is, hash is your preprocessor directive. Basically, before your program is compiled, it will add certain things to your program. Stdio.h will contain your standard input-output functions. So as you see, there is a something called printf hello world here. This printf function is in this header file. Okay. Now you have int main. So this is a main function. The content within this function is what is executed when you execute a program, basically. Okay. And this is a variable declaration, integer a. We will be talking about this later. Again in Hindi, I will try to explain this. Okay. तो ये आपका हेडर फाइल है, हैश इंक्लूड stdio.h. ये हैश आपका प्री प्रोसेसर डायरेक्टिव कहते हैं इसे. ये आपके प्रोग्राम में कुछ चीज़ें पहले से इंक्लूड कर देता है कंपाइलेशन से पहले. और ये चीज़ें हैं आपकी, जैसे आपका ये printf फंक्शन है, ये एक आउटपुट फंक्शन है जो इसके अंदर इंक्लूडेड रहता है, तो आपको ये इंक्लूड करना पड़ता है. और बाकी जो चीज़ें हैं ये आपका मेन फंक्शन है. तो जब भी आपका प्रोग्राम एग्जीक्यूट होगा तो इसके अंदर की चीज़ें एग्जीक्यूट होंगी. यहाँ पे एक int a करके लाइन दिख रहा है आपको, ये इंटीजर वेरिएबल का डिक्लेरेशन है, इसके बारे में बाद में बात करेंगे. बाकी ये चीज़ें हैं printf hello world, ये hello world डिस्प्ले करेगा आपके आउटपुट पे. और रिटर्न 0 ये आपको एक, मतलब आपके सिस्टम को एक 0 वैल्यू रिटर्न करेगा जो सक्सेसफुल टर्मिनेशन इंडिकेट करता है. ठीक है. Online IDE1. Here I have the program. Okay. Now I will just execute it. So you can see. So it prints hello world. This is our starting program. This is your question, like how do you display something on the terminal? The answer is printf. ये फंक्शन आपको काम आएगा. और ये इसका स्टैंडर्ड डेफिनेशन आपको इधर दिख रहा है. This is something that will help you later, but right now we can just skim over this and we can just start to work using this function. Now here we have two hello worlds. So I think there will be a question soon in the polls. There will be a question. You have to guess the output of this. Remember what printf does. Printf आपका ये whatever is between the quotes, that will be printed by the printf. So let us see. Now we will see the output. Okay, what's the problem? Okay, this is a standard copy paste problems. We'll just type it in. Some formatting issues there. Let's see this. So you see the output, it appears in one line. Hello world, hello world. There is no space here, nothing. It prints as it is. तो जो कोड्स के बीच में होगा वो सेम टू सेम प्रिंट होगा, right? And there are no line breaks. So this is your answer. /n. /n is an escape sequence character. Okay. So what is the meaning of this? This is a character which will, meaning it will enter a line break into your printf. Basically, if you type /n, it will then display the thing on the next line. Okay. So here we add the escape character /n. Now this slash is not the one which you usually use in your writing. Okay, this is the opposite one. That's how you can remember it basically. Don't use the one which you use while writing. Use the opposite one. Okay. Now see, this will not be printed. /n will not be printed. Instead of this, a line break is introduced here. Hello world in one line, then the next one in the other line. Now we have other escape sequence characters like this. You can experiment with all these. Okay, I can show you the horizontal tab also here. Just replace this with T, and you have basically a tab space, horizontal tab space between these two. Okay, so this is replaced by a space here. Last time it was a line break, this time it is a space. Now we will start using variables in our program. Okay, so what are variables? Variables can, these are memory locations. Now how do you use variables? You can use an analogy here. Suppose you have a disk and it has multiple drawers, so say 1,000 drawers. Now, when you use a variable, you're assigning a name to one of the drawers. Okay, so if you write int a, this will declare a variable a. Now, what does declaration mean? Declaration means that when you have a location, you just name it a. So when you use a, it will refer to the location. Okay, like if you have 1,000 drawers, you give one of the drawers a name, and you ask another person that take things out from drawer A. So he will just go there and take things out from there. Okay, so for Hindi people, this is आपके पास मेमोरी लोकेशन है और उनको आप नाम दे रहे हैं, तो ये आपका वेरिएबल है. जैसे आपने int a नाम दिया तो ये एक मेमोरी लोकेशन को बुक कर देगा और उसको नाम दे देगा a. तो ये कैसा है, जैसे आपके पास ड्रॉर है, हजारों ड्रॉर हैं, आपने एक ड्रॉर को नाम दिया a. अब आप किसी से कहेंगे कि मुझे ए में कुछ चीज रखना है, तो वो सीधा ए में जाएगा और वहां कुछ रख देगा, या आप कहें कि ए से कुछ निकालना है तो वो वहां से कुछ निकाल देगा. तो ऐसे ही आपका वेरिएबल भी काम करता है. ओके, सो दिस, suppose this is your memory. Okay, this is your memory and these are your locations. Okay, these are your locations. These, now you are declaring a variable a. So when you declare a variable a, what happens is this memory location, suppose this will be named a. Now this is A. This happens when this happens when you write this statement int A. This will book this memory location here. Okay. Now suppose you say A is equal to 10. So what does the compiler do? Meaning your program do, it just sees here what is A. A is this location, right? So it will write 10 here. Later when you take some value from here, now if you ask the compiler what is A, it will say A is 10. Okay, so this is basically how variables work. Types of variables. Now, variables, there will be different types of variables that you can use. Okay, now these are integer, character, float, double, long integer, short integer, and these are the statements you will use to declare them. Basically, if you want to say use a 4-byte space and you want to name it something, so you use int A. So it will give you a 4-byte space in the memory and it will name it A. So whenever you refer to A, it will refer to the location in memory, whose size will be 4 bytes. So this is how it works. If you have to declare it as a character, you say char A. Float, float is basically that your decimal numbers like 1.11, 2.22, like that thing. So that you can do float A. If you do that, then it will reserve memory of 4 bytes and name it A. Again, you reference that, it references, it goes to that location basically. Okay, and double is basically a bigger float, 8 bytes. Long integer, the name is obvious, is a bigger integer, which is double the size of this standard size, and short integer is half the size. Now, you know 1 byte is equal to 8 bits. So 4 bytes is 32 bits. 32 bits means that your integer can store values in the range of 2 raised to the power 32, 32 divided by 2 minus 1. This is your maximum limit. And in the negative, this will be a minimum limit of the number. This is how you can figure the limits out, basically. What's the point of using variables? Now, the advantage of having labeled memory locations is that you can change the data, you can manipulate it however you like. It helps you basically to keep track of things. Basically, if you want to say count numbers, so how do you know where your what your last number was? If you want to count till 10, you start at 1, then you add 1 to the stored value, then you add 1 to the stored value. So in these type of manipulations, all these things, variables will help you. These are your basic data structures, the most fundamental basic data structures. Now we are at the point where we know what a variable is. We have not used it, but we know what it is, right? So now we are going to print the variable. Now, how do you print it? Is it the same as printing hello world? No. To print a variable, you need something that is a format specifier. Now, what is a format specifier? Basically, it is you write a %sign and then you later write a character. Okay, so we'll see this. Now, these are some standard format specifiers: D for integer, C for character, F for float, S for string. Okay. this is your basic example of printing a variable. Now you see we have declared a variable integer a. Now you know what that means. It means that you have memory locations and you have chosen one memory location and named it a. A is equal to 10, meaning put 10 in that memory location. Okay, so now the memory location which is referred by a, मतलब जिस मेमोरी लोकेशन का नाम a है वहां पे 10 वैल्यू है, 10 वैल्यू स्टोर्ड है उधर आपके मेमोरी में. ठीक है. नाउ this is your printf statement. Notice the format specifier, a percent sign and then a d, and comma you pass the name of the variable. Variable name a hai, so you write a here. Okay. Yeah. So see, we declare a, then we give it the value 10, then we get the format specifier and then pass the variable name. You can see it prints 10. Okay, तो अभी आपका क्या है? What is happening is this memory location which is referred by a contains the value 10. So when you print this a, it prints 10. Okay, this is basically how you print variables. You can see this 2021. So as you might have noticed, what is happening is whatever this format specifier is present here, that is being replaced by the value contained in this variable. So that is basically what will happen when printf will execute. It will replace this %d with whatever value is here, meaning whatever variable is here, and that variable contains the value, in this case 2021. Okay, so that is how it will work. And suppose you want to do something like this. Now you see we will declare another integer b. Now we have another memory location named b that contains the value 2020. Okay, now we have 1% t here. Now this will be replaced by the value in a. So what we do, we add another value b. B will replace this %t. Now you get the output hello 2021 by 2020. Now what happens if you change the sequence? Now you do b first, a second. Now you can guess the output. Yes, of course. This, now you see this is reversed, right? So that basically the first %d is replaced by the first variable here. The second %d is replaced by the second variable here. This is how we print the variables. You can try it for different kinds of variables that we discussed earlier, like character, float, double. They will have their own format specifiers, but the way you print them, the basic syntax remains the same. It's a question: how do you make a program interactive? The main reason why we use variables is because we don't want to use values that only we, the developer, know. We want to take values from the user and then give him the output he requires. So that's the main reason why we use variables. So how do you take the user input? It is very simple. You just declare a variable according to your need and you use scanf in your program. Now, what is scanf? Remember, we said that in stdio.h there are functions which help you with input and output. We saw the function that helps us with the output, that is printf. Now we are seeing the function that helps us with input. Okay, so how do you use it? To use scanf, this will be your basic syntax. Basically, you have a variable, say integer a, then the scanf statement will be scanf %d. Now you know what this is. This is the format specifier, as we discussed already. Integer, the format specifier is d. So you write %d here and you write ampersand a here. Why the ampersand? That we will discuss in functions later. Okay. For now, you have to just keep in mind that you have to use this ampersand. So ampersand and the variable name. This is how you take input. This is the basic way. So what did I say for scanf? You just declare the type of variable you need. So we need an integer here. So we say integer a, then we go scanf, the format specifier for integer, ampersand, name of variable is a, and you print whatever value you have taken. Again, the format specifier is %d, and the name of variable is a. Now I am using an online IDE here, so this will be a bit different for you. When you compile it, it will ask you, it will wait for your input. Online, I will just need to specify the input beforehand. Okay, so I am giving the input 2. And it prints whatever value I've given in input. So the input is 2. It takes the value 2 and puts it in the location that is named A in our memory. And then when you say printf this A, it goes to that location. Scanf has already stored 2 there. It takes the 2 and it prints it. This is basic input output in your C language. Okay, so now we will solve a problem on CodeChef. Now this problem is very easy. It will only use the concepts we have learned till now, basically printf and scanf. On CodeChef, you go to practice and learn. Practice and learn, you will find practice problems by difficulty level. Go to beginner. Beginner, you'll find these easy problems. So now we will be solving the problem called number mirror. Okay. And now see, this is the problem. Now see, how do you solve these kind of problems on CodeChef? The problem statement is write a program that accepts a number n and outputs the same. So what is your problem? Basically what we did earlier. So the problem statement is write a program that accepts a number n and outputs the same, which is basically what we did right now, like earlier. Like we took an input and we printed an output, right? That is the thing we have to do here again. Now, in a problem statement, you generally have this statement that explains what to do. Then you have this input. This specifies what the kind of input is. Like here it says one line containing a single integer. Okay, meaning a single number, right? Output, same, in a single line, print the number. Okay. Now the constraint is the range you need to take care of. Basically here the number should be from 0 to 10 to the power 5. Now this is covered in the range of an integer. So if we use an integer, we will be fine. This is something when you later solve problems, you have to keep in mind that you use the appropriate variable. Okay. Now, these two lines, you see sample input, sample output. This is if you give the input 1, 2, 3, it should give you the output 1, 2, 3. That is basically what this means. Now, below you find the button for submit. So we will start to solve this problem basically. Yes, I've already solved it once. So it is already cached here. Okay. So see this. We will need this. So if you open it initially, it will, for you, it will not show C. It will show C++14. So you have to change it to C. Okay, so change it. Then you can type your program. Program, basically see, what have I done? But the problem statement said input is a single integer. So I declared an integer A. And I'm in this line, I take the input scanf percent this. Okay, you understand this statement already. So if I guess you'll be fine with it. Then the output is also a single line and it is an integer. So just print it again and that's it. Now we just submit this. And it gives you correct answer. So this is how you solve a problem on CodeChef. And now you have learned enough to solve at least one problem.